Madrid, a city of over 6 million and the capital of Spain, has long attracted immigrants and expats from all nations. Immigrants make up 16% of the city's population. Between the sunshine and the low cost of living, combined with the no pasa nada attitude, makes the city inviting to expats across the globe.
I've been living here for 3 years now, and I was born in Angola, but I was raised in Namibia. I speak four languages: English, Afrikaans, Spanish, and Portuguese. And I'm an English teacher here in Madrid. Apart from that, I also work as a counselor in summer camps.
It has been a one of the greatest blessings to be here in Madrid. And I would honestly like to thank my sister, because if it wasn't for her, I would have completely lost myself. So being here in Madrid, it's been amazing, good or bad. It's been great.
So before Madrid, I was living in Dijon, France, and I was there for about 2 years, doing the same thing, working as an English assistant in a high school. And so after 2 years in France, I loved it, but I was thinking I wanted to try out another country and see if I loved it just as much. So I came to Spain, and kind of naively, I thought it would be just like France, but it's not. There's a different language, and the culture is very different, besides the countries being right next to each other. And I think there's also the difference in my French is completely fluent, and I'm learning Spanish. And so at some ways, and also we're living in a big city, Madrid, so in some ways I feel like it was harder and it is harder to integrate into like Spanish society, since I'm still learning Spanish, and it's a big city, so it's kind of more, in a way, more anonymous. You're not as close with people, I think.
I left England to come to Spain because I was bored in England, didn't know what to do. A lot of other reasons, and also I moved there mainly for my then girlfriend who lived in Madrid, and I was teaching English for a while, and then after a few years, after 3 or 4 years of teaching English, I decided I wanted to get a more challenging job, and I enrolled in dental school in Madrid.
I wanted to study and work outside Romania because I wanted my career path to be more international. And I thought that studying abroad would allow me to get to know more people from different countries and have a more dynamic interaction with people from all around the world.
Originally, I chose to live in Madrid because I wanted a change of pace and a change of culture, but also I wanted a chance to live in Europe, to be able to travel and, of course, experience a different way of life. But I think more than anything, I really would love to learn Spanish.
At university, I studied abroad after the summer of my freshman year. I studied in Montpellier, France, and then I was a super senior, and so the fall semester of my super senior year, I did a semester in Paris, France. So I went straight to France right after I finished university. My life goal was I was going to be a language assistant in France for 2 years, meet the love of my life, and stay in France for the rest of my days. But that kind of happened. I had the opportunity to stay in France, but I decided I wanted to come to Spain and try another country. So I left, even though I had the opportunity.
I moved to Madrid because I fell in love with Spain, and I have chosen this city because I know it is one of the most international cities in Europe, and the culture is great, and I have more opportunities to interact with people from more countries while still feeling the Spanish vibe and living the culture of Spain.
My experience with the Madrid community, they are very, very friendly. They are nice, outgoing. Everything's late here. But on the other hand, I feel they're not used to certain different cultures, for example. Whereas like where I'm from in England, in my small town, I guess it could be said the same thing. It's like that. It's like that everywhere. But this is also a reason why I like to travel, just to know a lot of cultures and be open to them and just experience how people view things in a different way, how they view the world, just so I can get a better understanding of, how people like to interact, how they make social constructions and all that stuff.
I moved to South Korea to teach English, so I had a friend who left Athens to go teach English in Azerbaijan, and I was like, oh my god, like, people actually go and do this. So I had another friend who told me about the program in South Korea, and they just kind of helped me find the job that I got there.
Yeah, I really like living here. It's much more relaxed than like the US. And I think it's partly like the job I have here and just also the culture in general. I am an English assistant teacher, so it's not quite like actually what I wanted, but so in the US I am a teacher and I have my like degree and certification for primary and preschool education. But in Spain I can't like use any of that, and so the way Americans get to come over is on a student visa. And so it kind of like went along, and you can be a student visa and teach English. And so I do like teaching, and I like working with kids and all the things that like come along with it. But I don't really have a passion for teaching English. It's kind of an easy way to get to Spain. It kind of goes along with like what I want a little bit, but yeah, it's not really like necessarily teaching. It's more of like a teacher assistant position, so you're just kind of do whatever the teachers want, which when you have a background in education can be really difficult because the methodology that they use is very different than what I would choose. So to be fair, I've heard lots of different experiences in Spanish schools, and I've only been at one. In the US I was at over 14 different schools, and a lot of charter schools, a lot of public schools, some private schools, just everything. And so I have a lot more experience obviously in the US as a teacher than I do in Spain. My school in Spain, they did not do like any like active education at all, so like it's all like very much like I'm going to lecture you and that's what we'll do and you should be quiet. And like it's kind of like that where like obviously in the US, especially now, and in primary school we do so many like center activities, like teamwork, collaborative stuff for the kids, and also try and make our learning a little bit more hands-on. Being here, like I mean I definitely can like learn things as a teacher, and I think it will add to my experiences and like how I will like behave as a teacher.
In Spain I am a language assistant, so I teach English to children. The youngest age I teach is 3 years old, and the oldest age I teach here in Spain with the program is, I think they're 16-year-old. But I only teach from ages 3 to 6 and then 12 to 16. So basically I'm not here to teach them grammar or to give them tests. I'm here more to get them speaking and to help them feel more comfortable with the language. And I'm here to just give them an opportunity to know someone that's outside of their circle, because I think a lot of people don't have the opportunity to meet foreigners. So my job is to expose them to a different world in English.
It's quite common for English speakers to come to Madrid to teach English in schools. In recent years, English is widely taught through public, private, and language schools across the city. However, there are lots of opportunities for the English speakers to learn Spanish as well.
Yes, so I chose Spain because I wanted to become fluent in another language, and I wanted to become fluent especially in Spanish because it's very important in the US, regardless if you're working with immigrants or you're working with people that are just working in the US. It makes you more, more competitive for jobs, and also it's just, I think languages are beautiful, and so it's something I wanted to do. And after reaching fluency in French, I thought it would be easier to do that in another language. And I chose Madrid because I did live in Paris for a little bit, but I've never really lived in like a big city, and so I wanted to have that experience.
Pretty good. How would you say your Spanish is?
Bad. On the scale of 1 to bad, it is very bad.
What things have you done since being here to try and improve learning Spanish?
I take Spanish classes, so I do know something, but when I have to speak, it's like it all disappears. I do try to communicate like to people in Spanish. I don't go to intercambios because they make me so nervous here in Spain for some reason. I think maybe because the city is so big, it makes me really nervous to do the intercambio thing, like go to a bar and meet people. But I do the Tinder thing and go on dates, and sometimes those dates speak Spanish, you know? And so I'll spend a date speaking Spanish, and that's a really nice experience. And after I can do something like that, I always feel like, oh, I did it.
My Spanish isn't as fluent as I would like it to be, but I can get by. I can survive.
So when I was working in Spain, I was expected to speak both English and German at a fluent level, mainly because on a daily basis I had to interact with both the German and Austrian courts or lawyers. But the language spoken in the office was English, and sometimes it was hard to switch from one language to another, especially when hanging up on a phone and then having some colleagues asking you questions in English, whereas you're still stuck into the German drawl of knowledge. So sometimes it was a bit difficult, but then it wasn't really something hard to cope with, mainly because on a daily basis I switch from English to German to Romanian or even to Spanish, although I'm only speaking it at the conversational level nowadays.
So before I came here, I took Spanish in university for 4 years. And so I had the basis understanding of Spanish, but I didn't have any conversational skills because I never studied abroad. Here I go to a lot of the language exchanges where people are want to learn English and other people want to learn Spanish, and you kind of exchange language that way. So I'll do that, and then I just use a lot of dating apps to meet people and force them to speak Spanish with me. And so that's what I did. For a while I met someone on Bumble BFF, and we used to hang out every weekend, and she was from Venezuela but had lived in Spain for 10 years or something. And her English is absolutely perfect, and she wouldn't let us speak English at all, and that really helped. But I find that unless I'm constantly practicing it, I just keep losing more, and so it's hard. I need to find someone consistent to practice with, because I have the base, I understand Spanish, I can read and I can write Spanish, but it's just speaking and listening so hard.
In my opinion, it might be unpopular, but I don't think learning a language in a school setting is very helpful. And so after learning that with French, I'm kind of trying to take a similar approach with Spanish. So right off the bat, I started watching series, even if I didn't understand it, Spanish, with Spanish subtitles. I started watching YouTube in Spanish, podcasts, music, and I've also been taking language lessons with a native, kind of since I've started, and just speaking kind of without shame. I think one of the reasons it took me so long to speak French is because I was nervous, I sounded stupid, or I wasn't saying the right thing. But then after living in France and being friends with a lot of people that are foreigners, you find out that, me personally, I don't really think it matters what you say as long as you get the meaning across. So I've been kind of trying to use that with my Spanish, and I find here in Spain, people will deal with my bad Spanish, so that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, my family doesn't like that I'm far from home, and they don't really know anything about Spain or anywhere outside of where they live, so they think everywhere is really dangerous, especially because I'm in a city, so they don't love it.
I don't think my family have particular feelings about me being in Madrid, because we come from a family where we're very well spread out geographically. For example, my older sister is living in France. I've got a couple of uncles and aunts in Canada, some in America, so we're quite a spread out family.
I think after the 3 years in Korea, they're like, okay, she's in Spain. I don't think they think anything about it. I think my mom and my dad, of course, they want me to come home, but I think they realize that I'm happy here, and for them, I'm living, my life in the way that I can.
Leaving a third world country to come to a first world country was a really big change, and I for a fact know that the way I think is completely different, the way I see things is completely different, the way I want my life to be is different. The moment I left home, I told myself I would only go back home when I've gathered enough information being in a first world country to take home to help my community. So when COVID happened, I knew that if I did go back home, I would at least be taking my life back 5 years. So even though my paycheck was cut and I didn't have that much money to actually spend, I told myself that if worst comes to worst, I would rather struggle in Europe than struggle back home.
So what does your future hold? What are your, I know plans clearly change quickly, but what are you wanting to do?
That is also a very good question, because personally I have struggled a lot with what I want to do. I know I love to do a lot of things. I'm currently writing a book. I would love to become a YouTuber. I would love to invest in anything that's artistic in terms of photography or dancing, but I'm also very much into humanitarian work. I'm very much into humanitarian work. I'm also very spiritual, so I would love to do missionary work. I know that I will be a UN ambassador one day. I don't know how it will happen, but I know I will be. I also know that I will be famous. And when I say famous, it's not all about the money, because for me, I just want what I need, and I want to be able to give to people that has been through certain situations I have been through in life. And as a refugee, I would love to go to refugee camps and help them, be it spiritually, be it in terms of medicine, because I studied nursing, or even just by doing charity work. It doesn't have to be about money, it just has to be about you being present and helping people in ways you can.
Yeah, so I'm staying in Madrid for another year, and then we'll see after that, because I do eventually want to be a actual classroom teacher, which I can't do here. And so next year I will be at a new school, and at that school I will only be working with infantile, which is ages 3 to 5.
I don't feel like I would move back to England anytime soon. I would like to try somewhere different, somewhere new, since I've spent most of my life in England. And now, after my time is done in Madrid or Spain, I'd like to try something new.
I think so. It's hard for me to say yes, because in a way I don't want to, but in a way I do want to. So I'm going to stay for another year. So that'll make it 4 years that I've lived abroad. And I would really love to keep living abroad, but I think I might take a pause on that and go back to the US for maybe 2 years or 3 years. Just because I'm at a point in my life where a lot of my friends are getting married or starting their lives. And so I think I would just like to go back and kind of be there with them for a couple of years before they have kids and leave me. And then I can go travel somewhere in South America.
My goals remained unchanged. So I still want to find an international job, meet people from different countries, having different backgrounds. So at this stage, I'm not really sure if I will remain in Romania or move abroad. But it probably depends on the position which I will find. But I would be really happy to change the cities. But it really depends on the job and on the opportunities overall.
I think if I could choose at this moment in time to stay abroad the rest of my life, I would do that. but I mean, I recognize that my home is in Georgia. My family is there. But at this time, like, I don't have anything left in the U.S. You know, like, my life has been abroad for the last 4 years. It'd be hard to go back, I think. But if I have to go back, of course, like, that's my home.
Would you call Madrid home?
I would definitely call Madrid home. I have met some people that have made me feel things that I haven't really felt before with family members, if that makes sense. Yes, I love my parents, I love my sisters, I love colleagues, friends, everybody that has been there for me back home. But coming to a different place and meeting a random person and just clicking in an instant, and then one conversation leads to the other, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody else, and it's like, I have a family here. I have a family of different ethnicities, not just Spanish people. I have Americans, I have people from Colombia, I have people from Senegal. It's like we're this huge family of just different cultures and different people, different personalities. It's great. I know that if anything, they will definitely be there for me the same way my family back home would. So Madrid is definitely home.
Sure, at the moment. I mean, like, it's where I live and it's where my friends are. So, I don't know. I feel like that's what makes it home. So,
I want to say yes, but it's not a complete yes. Like, it is home, and it even felt like home when I visited Madrid for the first time 2 years ago as a tourist. But I don't know. I think home's complex. So yes, it is home because I have friends I love here, and I do feel like I fit in. But in a way, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever 100% home, especially if you move all the time. Like, you're always missing somewhere and missing people. And there's the question too, when you're not a part of that culture, if you never feel like 100% like you fit in. So it's mostly home.
I think for me, wherever I have my suitcase at the moment is home, and wherever I can make my friends at the moment is home. Athens, Georgia will always be my first home, but I think at this point in my life, I don't know if I have like a place. Home is where I enjoy being, and I think I was talking to friends the other day, when I leave Madrid and I go for a travel, when I come back or during this travel near the end, I think I want to go home, and that home is always where I'm living at the moment. You know, it's never back in Athens. So for me, I think home is a flexible concept.